located off of Joan Avenue. All proceeds go to Beach Care Services. For more information, check out the Pops Pig Pick and Barbecue Facebook page. This event is brought to you by Team MVP, powered by EXP, The Break Room, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze around 10 miles per hour out of the south and temps near 89. We will have clear skies tonight and be warm at 75. And sunny tomorrow and a high 87. Sunshine much of the day, but with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening Thursday with a temp of 87. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
Take your next adventure in an eco-friendly, all-electric Kia EV6 that gives you the movement that inspires. You can live fully charged while saving now and down the road on fuel costs. Schedule a test drive today and explore the electrified Kia vehicles at Bill Burr Kia. You have to drive it to believe it. Now offering $7,500 EV lease bonus when you lease a new 2023 Kia EV6 wind electric all-wheel drive for 36 months. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology with a performance that minimizes the impact of our environment. Bill Burr Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or BillBurrKia@PanamaCity.com. We make it easy to switch to EV ownership and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Close-in lease based on a new 2023 Kia EV6, model number N5452. No security deposit required. $7,500 EV lease bonus not available for cash. Subject to credit approval, dealer participation, and vehicle availability. $49.99 due at signing for well-qualified leases. See dealer for complete details. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Burr Kia warranty. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/5/23.
Wow, it's another school year already. On your way to drop off the kids at school, why not stop by Krispy Kreme Donuts and pick up a dozen or two specialty donuts to celebrate another school year? The kids will love them, right, kids? Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and Ross Clark Circle in Dothan.
Hurricane Ian will be the most costly natural disaster in modern times for the state of Florida. Many communities have been completely devastated.
This is Mike Vick. Those affected by Hurricane Ian need our help. Join me by texting disaster to 20222 or visit floridadisasterfund.org to donate today. Together, we can help.
Brought to you by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We're the radio home of the Mosley Dolphins. WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. John. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. Now. And now we're taking...
With the first pick.
It's the last ball you got to bet. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Tuesday morning. Hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As always, joined by our Director of Instruction out there at Bay Point Golf Club, Jay Henley and DJ Davey Crockett behind the glass. You guys have a good weekend?
Fantastic.
I mean, I don't know how you couldn't if you watched any little tiny bit of football this past weekend, because it was absolutely wild.
Football all weekend.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. How about you, Ryan?
Football all weekend. It was football, and we're purging our house right now. We're getting all the stuff we need to get done as we're getting closer to moving into the new house. But yeah, no, it was awesome. And I had looked at some Facebook memories this morning, and apparently the week one last year was also very wild, and I had put some LSU stuff on sale at Bay Point today last year. We don't have any of that stuff left. Otherwise, I'd do a fire sale as well. David?
I was about to say, should it be Florida State that you're putting on sale this year since LSU won last year? FSU won this year?
FSU won both.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. So, no.
That's why I was doing a sale last year.
Never mind. For some reason, I'm tripping. I love that.
No, it's okay. I peaked once. Like, once you do one of those things, you can't do it again. You can't replicate that that gloriousness. But
oh, man.
Good weekend?
Great weekend. With a little Brave sprinkled on top there.
Absolutely.
But outside of that, man, starting it off with a bang on Saturday with Colorado TCU. Actually, starting it off with a bang Friday evening with Mosley taking care of business against Bay. Man. Sammy Freitas playing lights out, then moving on to that Colorado TCU game. I actually didn't even go out to the living room to watch like different games. I was like, you know what? I'm going to put all of my focus on this Colorado TCU game. And it was fun, man. All three of us were jamming back and forth.
There was a lot to focus on. That is for sure. That is for sure. But as always, you can listen live and local if you're listening, on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. John along the Forgotten Coast. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. And as always, you can download that free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. That one you do have to search 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And I use that app, and I also use the radio when we were driving around listening to DJ Davy Crockett calling that Mosley game.
Yes, sir.
From what I could tell from that Mosley game, it really looked like, obviously, Sammy Freitas played spectacular. Their offense looked good, but Mosley's defensive line just kind of dominated Bay's O-line in that one, it seemed like. I forget the Bay quarterback's name.
John Davos.
But he looked like he was running around a lot and having to play under some serious duress.
Yeah, it was tough. You have to give credit to Bay and Rutherford in the last 2 weeks against Mosley because they're a lot younger, they're a lot smaller, and they had a lot of heart, though, to fight till the end. So that was really good. It was, Mosley was just answering the chip on their shoulder and trying to reclaim that spot as the top team in Bay County, and they did it emphatically. So kudos to Bay. They played their tails off, and it was all the way till the final snap of the game, so you really enjoy that. But Mosley, it's going to be interesting to see how they're playing once we get into district play because it looks like Coach Tommy Joe Whitten has a fire lit under their tail.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe what happened last year, going 500, I think?
Yeah, it was like 5-5,
With a lot more expectations than that. Maybe that's kind of what they needed for some of these guys from last year to really get them going from this year, because it certainly looks like, so far anyway, they're on a mission.
It shows how important that quarterback position is at every single level of football, even at high school, right? Because last year he won the job from senior Trey Coker, and still when you win the job as an underclassman, you still have a lot to prove, and then when you prove it and you come in and now it's your team as a junior, the guys just listen to you and they follow your lead. And this is also 2 games in a row without 4-star cornerback committed to Missouri, Cam Keys, suited up. So just imagine what else could be happening here in the future. They've got Arnold this weekend at Gablack.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was watching it on the YouTube, and man, the production's unbelievable. It was actually better. I was watching the Friday night college football game. I can't remember who that was Friday night, but it was better in production on my smartphone, or my iPhone.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
It was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed.
It's good
Louisville,
stuff.
Georgia Tech.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the one.
Which, how about that, though? When I left the game, Georgia Tech was on top.
I thought Georgia Tech was going to get it done.
Wow.
Yeah, that's for sure. Good
Fun
stuff.
football, man. Fun football.
So many different levels. Jay, where do you want to start?
I don't know. I mean, my 2 headlines for the last 4 days is, is the Florida Gator Nation mulling over Napier?
Have you been waiting all weekend
for that one? I've been waiting for that one,
That's
man.
a good one.
That is a good one. You see a lot of Dan Mullen on the TV as an analyst there with ESPN.
And my second headline is we coming.
Yeah.
We coming.
Keep those receipts.
And that's what Colorado's doing is we coming.
So let's jump into that Colorado game with TCU. A lot of hype from the media, a lot, as well deserved. I mean, they came out there, they played with some swagger, they looked good. Shador looked fantastic, threw for over 500 yards and I think 4 total touchdowns, no interceptions. Really took care of the ball well as well. But is the hype, are we early or is it justified? What do you think, Jay?
It's still early. Obviously, the hype is there. We go to Colorado for the Nebraska game this weekend,
and talk about that line shifting. Just and like Alan said, but I was paying attention to it as well. I've never seen a line shift so far. I think it was 8.5. Nebraska was favored, and now I think at this moment I don't have it up right now, but I'll check it out in a second. I think Colorado's favored by 3.
Oh,
wow.
Which I watched a lot of that Nebraska-Minnesota game, and then I watched the majority of the Colorado-TCU game, and I don't know if 3's enough.
2 different games, though.
Two very different games, very different styles. Colorado's certainly going to fit in well with the Big 12 when they make the move because no one plays defense.
Hey, fit in better with the Pac-12 right now.
Yeah. How about the Pac-12 going 13-0 in this opening weekend?
Imagine that. There's only 2 teams left, is that right?
Next year, yeah.
Yeah.
And someone's got to find Oregon State, right? I mean, they took care of business against San Jose State in San Jose State.
There was some road games that I thought were pretty odd. That was one of them, and there was another game that I can't remember off the top of my head that I thought was pretty odd. It was a road game. But anyway, jump back into your takeaways from the Colorado-TCU game.
I mean, the one thing that comes to my mind, I feel like FSU and Colorado would be such a great matchup because they're
FSU'd kill them.
You think so?
Yeah.
Just defensively speaking. I mean, Shedeur would be running for his life. Now, of course, it's easy to say that, but I agree 100% with Ryan. Like, watching Jared Verse and those guys up front yesterday, most impressive win of the weekend. Colorado looked phenomenal offensively, but neither one of those 2 teams, TCU and Colorado, could stop each other.
Yeah, and don't forget, everybody's like, oh, they beat the defending, team that went to the national championship. They returned 3 starters on offense in that game. So I'm all about the Deion hype. I'm all about Shedeur, Travis Sanders playing 128 snaps or something like that, offense and defense. Yeah. That just doesn't happen. People shouldn't physically be able to do that and not only play the snaps, but play very, very, very well when it comes to that kind of stuff. But continue, Jay.
No, I mean, that's just it was out of all the games this weekend for sure. I mean, that Colorado TCU game was amazing. They're talking about. I think I heard Jim talk this morning a little bit on the James Hill show this morning about how at the last 3 or 4 games that TCU has played defensively.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's been horrible.
Yeah, they've gotten absolutely bamboozled.
They played good against Michigan defensively. They had the pick 6. It was like. Yeah, I think that they played decently. And one of the reasons that TCU got to their position last year, which I don't know if you credit this to the defense, but they were knocking opposing quarterbacks out of the game.
Yeah.
Like not a Bounty Gate, New Orleans deal, but they, and the guy who started for TCU was the incumbent starter
and lost his job to Max Duggan.
Yeah.
Duggan. We are the Duggars.
Oh, yeah.
Mama June. I told Ryan about that over the weekend. I was like, do you know Jay went to high school with Mama June? She's like, no way.
No way.
It's like Griffin High School, class of whatever.
98.
98.
That's it.
Lowest SAT scores in the country's history. Anyway, getting back to Travis Hunter. Sorry, it was 145 total snaps. 7 more were pre-snap penalty plays where he was out there. He had 13 targets, 11 catches, 119 yards, 7 first downs. On defense, there was 9 targets in his direction when he was playing corner. He only allowed 3 catches, had 3 pass breakups, and that interception on that mesh rail play that TCU was running, he saw that play going out to the rail so early, and to jump it like that, I mean, I don't even put that on the quarterback for TCU. That play looked open. Hunter just saw it, jumped it, and by the time the ball left his hands, he got there and made an unbelievable interception.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you could see the ball skills. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was just going to ask Ryan what his thoughts were. I feel like it's still very early. You got to get through Nebraska next week. In week 3, I think you're going to either be deciding factor on kind of where we're going with all this. But, I mean, the hype is there. It's just, is it going to continue on?
No, we get to see it. We're going to have the synopsis essentially here in week
3 weeks.
5 and 6 or so?
Yeah, September 23rd and September 30th. They play in Eugene to number 15 Oregon, who hung 81 points, breaking the FBS. I don't know if it's Division I. I think it's the FBS record for most points scored in a game. And then USC Trojans comes to town. That's if Colorado beats Nebraska, they'll absolutely destroy Colorado State.
Yeah.
And then if they look decent against Oregon, I don't know if they probably won't win that game. But then coming to town, home game, the Trojans coming into town, man.
Two trash defenses and great offenses.
No, it's going to be good stuff. I mean, if one thing anyway, it's they've certainly dominated the headlines, and the question marks going into the season, how are they going to look, have been answered, because they certainly played a good football game, a well-coached football game. And don't forget, too, Deion Sanders' other son was out there as well, Shiloh, playing. He had a good game. But 4 wide receivers, I believe, over 100 yards in that one. So 510 yards passing.
Third down conversions win football games, and that's what they did the best, I think, this past weekend. Just kept the ball moving down the field.
Yeah,
so
they're
that's
a
great.
Fun team to watch. I mean, even if it's like Jay's saying, coming out of the flats a lot on third down, big throws to Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn Jr., Weaver. I mean, they've got 3 very talented wide receivers. It's really going to come down to the trenches there. And the thing is like they could go in there and beat Oregon and USC, though. That is a real possibility at this point. We don't want to look at it, or some people don't want to look at it like that. But the way that they played football, yes, it wasn't a great brand of defensive football by any stretch of the imagination.
Tell me a team in the Pac-12 or the Big 12 that really do play good defense.
I think my lone school there would be Oregon and Oregon State.
Yeah.
Like kind of more defensively minded than some other schools.
Definitely, for sure. But yeah, anything else on this one, Jay?
No, I mean, that's about all I got on that one. But I don't know. I'm still a little like we're into week 1. I don't.
You have to be wary. Yeah. Oh, quarterbacks. It was wild.
Well, it's like, how do we're protecting the quarterback. I think there should be a quarterback square where when that quarterback gets out of that square, like it should be kind of like fair game.
Just call it the tackle box. Then once they get out of the tackle box, fair game.
I mean, I think that's why some of these quarterbacks are running for more yardages because of, like, they're
having to scramble.
Yeah. And but anyways, that's just kind of my thought on it a little bit. But
yeah,
what's your thoughts?
I mean, there was so many good storylines, and the Heisman race is off to a fiery start. That's for sure. I'll jump into some of these Heisman odds just a little bit later on. But yeah, like I said, 13-0 Pac-12 goes. What's your biggest upset of the weekend?
Ooh,
I know David Hayes posed this question on his Facebook page.
Biggest upset. I think is FSU, LSU an upset?
No.
I mean, no. I'd have to look back.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You got a few options out there.
Texas State Baylor, I think, is one of my biggest. Wyoming, I forget who they beat.
Texas Tech. Double overtime.
Yeah, double overtime. FCS school, I'm pretty sure Wyoming is, or did they move to the FBS?
Josh Allen played there. I wouldn't say that they're FCS. I want to say that they're D1 because they play in bowl games. So.
Yeah.
Duke beating Clemson. I mean, that was
definitely an upset.
Yeah,
somebody picked that on the show. I don't know who did, but we'll go over our picks in the second segment. But yeah, Clemson, that's a whole nother team that just looked not great in the red zone. I think 3 red zone opportunities, 2 fumbles and a block kick, something like that.
Klubnik is so good. Heisman hopeful. Come on, man.
He got outplayed by Riley. I forget his last name.
Riley Leonard.
Leonard. That guy balled out.
He did, and the defense and those helmets too. I like those helmets a lot better than the big.
Yeah. William said, I like the font on that.
Yeah.
I was like, it's kind of that old English cool Duke font.
So, it makes it look a little gangster.
It does.
Yeah.
Duke played with some heart. That's why that was the easiest under pick of the weekend for me.
Did you pick Duke?
No, I didn't pick Duke. I should have picked Duke. I was kind of biting myself there. But no, 54.5, Clemson Duke, it kind of seemed like a no-brainer. And then when I think it was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, I was like, okay, that's good. Because I expected Clemson's defense to be a little bit better than that against Duke, but I also, didn't expect Clemson. I kind of expected if it was in Raleigh-Durham, or Raleigh, wherever Duke is. Durham. It's in Durham, sorry. It's in the greater Raleigh-Durham area. But anyway, I expected Duke's defense to play decent against Clemson. I expected Clemson's defense to play better against Duke's offense. Mm-hmm. But when you're at home in front of all those fans and you got a quarterback like him, you just put the team on his back. Yep. He led the team in rushing and all that stuff. But their defense was flying around the field.
Yeah.
If you, like you said, Dave, if you're an FSU fan, Florida loses, Clemson loses, you beat the brakes off of LSU in the second half. The first half was very close, but play calling was a little dicey there in the first half by Norvell. And the refs you were talking about it earlier. You were talking about those personal foul calls and the roughing the passer and that kind of stuff. And that's what's so hard in a game of that magnitude. I don't know how you stop yourself sometimes.
Yeah. No kidding. Was it in that play, like in the FSU Clemson game, or FSU LSU game, where one guy actually like body slammed the quarterback into the ground? Was that the FSU LSU game?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, so much football.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
I know that
it's
play
all
that you're
running
talking
together
about,
just a little bit.
because it could have been North Carolina, South Carolina the night before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and Alex was like, well, what's wrong? I was watching with my brother all weekend. He was like, I mean, what's wrong with that? I'm like, well, that's a personal foul.
Yeah.
But kudos to FSU, because I would say that the majority of those first half calls were against Florida State. That we're just kind of like, what the heck? I wish that a referee would have to be like, or we're sitting there like, where's the flag? Not why is that a flag? That type of deal, because I mean, it's just getting so ticky-tack, and they're able to manipulate things, even though I don't think that they do it intentionally at the college football level. But who knows, man? It's a business. They make a lot of daggum money.
A lot of money. That is for sure. That is for sure. Yeah. Some of the other upsets I wanted to talk about real quick. What's another one that comes to your mind, David?
For me, the biggest one is ULM, University of Louisiana Monroe, taking down Army. Army was like 300 point, or not 300
Plus 300,
point,
yeah.
minus 300 or so, and just took it to them. ULM did. It wasn't a high scoring game, but Austin Siegel works over there as director of player personnel, and getting his thoughts on it. He said it was huge for the people of Monroe, who knocked off Alabama in like 2006, first year of Nick Saban.
That. Yeah. Texas State over Baylor, I think, was the biggest upset as far as your numbers are concerned. I forget what Baylor was favored in that one. There were several games that were that Georgia Tech Louisville game was fairly close, and at one point Chanticleers they were close. I know we were texting David during that game, and they looked good. Their offensive line did not, and I thought when they were driving down the field in the second half, down by a point, they kind of had to control the football game, and then just one interception. It changes everything.
What was the score to that one? Right?
That ended up being 27-13. So if you bet Coastal to cover, they still covered by a smidge, but that's the end score of that game was a lot less indicative of what actually happened there on the field. We got a caller on the line, David? No? Okay, cool. If anybody wants to give us a call and talk about your thoughts of your favorite team, whatever it may be, it's 850-215-6290. We got a break here in about 1 minute. When we get back from that, we're going to jump into reviewing our picks from yesterday. Then we'll break down some more of these games, talk about that FSU LSU game, which was just like I said, if you're a Florida State fan, you're feeling pretty good right now.
Oh, yeah.
You're feeling pretty good right now. So, but yeah, just so much football going on. And here we are, week 1 of the NFL as well. You got to pay attention to your fantasy football teams. You got to get your DFS stuff going. Tomorrow we'll have Keith Fleming on the line at 12 as we start getting those official lineups for the and you did pretty well in your DFS in college, right? You did a couple showdowns.
I did a couple of showdowns. Keith told me, not to do college football.
Yeah, but when you do the showdowns, that's just that specific game versus trying to pick a lineup using a salary cap for college football is tough because there's so many games out there.
Oh, yeah.
Although my first year doing college fantasy football that I can remember, and it is tough. I lost by 5 points. I had Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson the other night, and I just needed 6 more, so I lost by 5 or 6. I don't know. Anyways, very close. But Leanne Schwarzentrooper's in that league, and she had the high score over everyone, like 162 points or so.
Anybody have anybody from Colorado?
I had McCaskill, who's like the 3rd string running back.
Yeah.
But I think, actually, I need to check the waiver wire here because I believe, what's his name? Is it Darius Edwards, number 3 for Colorado?
Yeah.
I think he's still out there on that waiver wire.
Gotcha.
That would be a big pickup.
Definitely. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay, when we get back, we'll break down those picks from last week.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The tradition continues.
That ball is going to be out of here.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Bombs away.
The Atlanta Braves are back and making a statement.
Head first slide, 2 RBI triple.
Listen to Atlanta Braves baseball in a rich audio experience live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here comes the thunder.
Sponsored by Bestway Portable Buildings, Dave & Buster's, PCB Hobby, and Gulf Coast Aquarium.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze around 10 miles per hour out of the south and temps near 89. We will have clear skies tonight and be warm at 75. And sunny tomorrow and a high 87. Sunshine much of the day, but with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening Thursday with a temp of 87. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With summer winding down and another school year upon us, That Boot Store invites the entire family to shop for the widest selections of Western and work clothing in the area at prices you can afford. Don't forget to drive carefully. The roads will be busy. A reminder from That Boot Store. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street, Panama City. And remember, God is good all the time. That Boot Store.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Me and my I Do crew have 50 years experience, and we have more certified diamonds in stock at the best prices in town. So if you're tired of high-pressure salespeople, come see me, your diamond girl, and my I Do crew at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, because we don't work on commissions. We work for smiles and I Do's.
The only place to get sports betting coverage on the radio. Is this legal? Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'm not going to wait the whole 30 seconds this time. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can check them out over there at the corner of 23rd Street and Frankford Avenue. Lots of new trucks and vehicles in stock. Trade value still super high. You can buy your tires at cost. And if you need to get your boat back out on the water, they are a Yamaha full-line outboard dealer. They have a Yamaha Master Certified mechanic on staff. They also sell Suzuki Suzuki outboard motors as well. And if you need to get something new, you can go check out all their new and used inventory at KramerMarineAndOutdoor.com. They got Seabourn, Sundance, Spider, and now what Jay?
Skeeter.
Skeeter boats. Yep. You'll never forget Skeeter.
Skeeter.
It's a great name for a boat.
It is.
But yeah, let's. I want to break down just some of these other scores before we go into our picks here real quick. Obviously, how'd you feel about your Georgia Bulldogs? Carson Beck, decent performance, threw for almost 300 yards and had one TD pass. Brock Bowers, 5 receptions for 77 yards. Now they put in a lot of second string guys as that game progressed, but only 7-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then 17-0 at the half.
All all the dog lovers out there listening, everybody calm down. Everything's going to be fine. That's all I heard all weekend was Bobo got to go. But
already? He just won 2 national championships.
Yeah, I mean, let's calm down. Everything's going to be all right. But anyways, Carson Beck, threw for 294 yards?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, that's respectable.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Tell me he doesn't look like Johnny Bravo.
Man, he...
What was that show called? It was on Cartoon Network.
He does, yeah. With it's the hair in the way his chin is.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. Is that the name of the show?
I believe so.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. See, I said it already.
But what a it's a weak schedule. It's a very weak schedule, as everybody's saying.
Hey, but all you got to do is win every game, and you're right there again.
That's it.
And if you win that last game, you win your 3rd straight national championship. Number 2, Michigan beat East Carolina 30-3. J.J. McCarthy had a good game. He passed for 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. Blake Corum had a good game, averaging 7.3 yards per carry, scoring 1 touchdown. They got off to, another team kind of got off to a slow start. A lot of people in these first week games, when you're playing these lesser opponents, think that, you got to get up by a ton in that first quarter or the rest. But they were up 23-0 at halftime, only scored 7 more points, with that final score being 30-3. Now, want to get your thoughts on this one. Obviously, Ohio State and the debut of Kyle McCord threw for 239 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. I heard a lot of Buckeye chatter out there. Is it time to panic? But first game, Indiana, at least they were playing a conference opponent. They only won that one 23-3, being up 10-3 at the end of half, and then ended up scoring 13 more points the rest of the way. What are you guys' thoughts on that game?
It wasn't Indiana. Don't know if that
was the game. No, that's not it. That's not why. That's not the game. There's another game that was away that I was surprised it was. Continue. I apologize for interrupting.
No, it's cool. I did not watch this game. I don't know much about Ohio State. But 23-3, first game of the season. I'm not sure who Ohio State has for next week, but they'll be. Is that on our
I think it's
board?
Youngstown State next week, and then Western Kentucky, and then their big games that week 4 game against Notre Dame. Did you see any of this one, David?
Yeah, actually, I watched a good chunk of it, being that it was on CBS. Kyle McCord looked shaky, and he didn't use his playmakers. What's the other receiver? Obviously, you got Marvin Harrison Jr., who was 2 of 18, and Egbuka, I believe. So that's something I don't think that it's much. I don't think that the worry meter should be that high right now, just because it is game 1. As you mentioned, Indiana had a great crowd, and they were stymieing that offensive line as well, getting a lot of pressure on Kyle McCord. But I don't think that there's a ton to worry about yet. Now, it does seem like a team that could very easily drop 3 games this year, but that's an overreaction type take, I think, at this point in time.
At this point in the season.
Once you start getting Marvin Harrison Jr. going and getting the running game going a little bit, I think they'll survive their schedule. But I mean, hey, look, I don't think they're ready to beat Michigan yet.
Yeah,
so
well,
we'll see.
and his new quarterback. I mean, you can develop all the chemistry you want in training camp and practices, but until you get out there in a game, that's when you really learn. I mean, and kudos to them for scheduling a road. Not probably the Big Ten dictated the schedule, but having a conference opponent on the road for their first game of the season, which is a little different than a lot of the other teams out there.
I think that had a lot to do with, and this is speculation here. No, CBS, them starting their venture with CBS, you got to give something. What was the other Big Ten? You know what I mean? You need a Big Ten game,
matchup,
2 Big Ten teams. So I think that worked out to get their era started with CBS there. So it'll be interesting though. But you can't count Ohio State out yet. They've got a lot of athletes, and as much as I don't think Ryan Day is great in huge games, I think he's still a good coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got a couple more easier games before they hit that at Notre Dame game week 4. So Youngstown State and Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's the Hilltoppers, right?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you. And then moving on to number 4. The rankings may come out while we're on the air. I'll keep looking for them. But Alabama took care of business against the Raiders from Middle Tennessee State, getting out to a 28-0 lead at the end of half and scoring 28 more points to win that game, 56-7. What are your thoughts on that one? Jalen Milroe, I thought, had a great game. A little slower start, but then once he picked up that fumble and ran it for a touchdown, the rest first quarterback to throw for 3 touchdowns and rush for 2 touchdowns in a game. Alabama history.
Yep.
So his first start ever at Alabama, and he's already setting records.
Not his first start, but his first year starting as the quarterback.
As the starting quarterback.
He started a few games last year, I believe. For that Texas A&M game was all Jalen Milroe, I believe.
Yes, because because Bryce Young wasn't playing that game.
Like you said, started out slow. Like to see the confidence build. Not even going to lie. For a little while there, when it was 14-0, Middle Tennessee put together a good drive, and I'm like, okay, Jay is hitting the nail on the head here, and so I'm going to, it looked like it was possibly going to be 14-7, but then he started connecting with his receivers deep down the field. But there was a point there before they started kind of pulling away from Middle Tennessee where I'm like, all right, like we've seen Milroe here. He's kind of gotten it going, but let's go ahead and throw in Buckner or let's throw in Ty Simpson. Interesting to see all 3 quarterbacks getting a rushing touchdown and pretty lengthy rushing touchdowns too, not like it was a quarterback sneak. So all 3 guys are mobile. With him playing, the first 2.5 quarters essentially, I do think he is going to be the starter moving forward. He looked the most comfortable out of them all, so we'll see. And obviously, it's Coach Saban's decision to make there, and I think he's going to do it. He'll make the right decision, the best decision for the Tide. But excited to see how it goes. Still don't. I mean, he made some really good passes, but I still don't believe in the accuracy whenever he's going to be getting pressured, and he's going to take a lot of pressure from Texas this week. Great opponent to line up before them because Middle Tennessee State did a great job of getting pressure on Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, that's really I don't want to say the only game this week coming up, but with the NFL season starting on Sunday, a lot of focus shifting to that. But Texas-Alabama is, Saturday night?
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
In Tuscaloosa?
Yep.
Whew, that's going to be good. That's going to be good. We're about to find out a lot about both teams in that game.
Yeah.
That is
Texas
for sure.
A&M and Miami have a date again this week, too. So they played last year. I believe Miami got the better of Texas A&M. So Texas A&M is going to want to answer back to that, or we'll see. Maybe the biggest competition for FSU in the ACC this year could be, I don't even know if FSU and North Carolina play off the top of my head without looking at the schedule, but Miami could, maybe be some competition. I doubt it.
Doesn't look like they're playing UNC this year, which they very well could be weak in the ACC championship, depending on what Clemson does from here on out.
I'm glad my team got their ESPN Plus game out the way.
Yeah,
that's their
you very well may be on ESPN Plus again this week, Jay.
No, it's just one. I think it's just one.
Well, you're playing Ball State. Well, there's not a ton. There's not
SEC Network.
There you go.
Yeah.
On the SEC Network.
Yep.
Look, you can find it on cable or satellite or whatever streaming. Yeah. Even though ESPN Plus is technically streaming too, so it's so confusing in this day and age.
Yeah, I know, man.
Everything's streaming if you have a streaming TV provider.
Like if you sign up for ESPN Plus paying $100 a daggum year, you should be getting all of the ESPN channels.
That's what I would think.
And I re-signed up for the daggum thing.
Yeah, because you have to have to watch an ESPN game or an SEC, you have to have your TV provider login.
Yes.
Which, thank goodness, YouTube TV is a provider login because I dropped DirecTV. But we've already talked about that.
I seen a commercial real quick, and I don't know if I was...
That said DirecTV was offering Sunday Ticket?
Yeah, well, not that they were doing that.
Because I saw that too. I was is this real?
They were, so if you sign up with DirecTV, they're going to pay for your YouTube TV so that you get... Sunday
that
Ticket.
Must have been what I saw.
That is wild, though.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what? We're losing you, but we can get you back here. You want it for free? Stick with us for another year.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Grasping for straws.
Hey, no, they're sitting in the corporate execs were sitting in their monthly budgetary meeting and looking at their forecast, and they're like, we just lost how many $1 million by dropping NFL Sunday Ticket? All right, we need to figure out a way to get people to stay on with us.
And then you got the whole situation with Spectrum and not airing, the ESPN because of Disney, essentially, that Disney was going to raise the prices for Spectrum users or however that worked. It's so greedy.
Give us our football.
Well, here's the worst part about it, though, is that these subscribers, these users, aren't finding out until a week before the games. And now you got to scramble, and you probably got to pay some type of fee to get out of that deal early to be able to. It's just ridiculous, man.
I will say I don't get too upset very often.
Yeah.
But when I get upset, the kids see me at my worst is when I think I know I should be able to watch a game, and then it does not come to fruition.
Yep.
That's when I get upset. Right. I can feel that angst in my chest right now.
Yeah.
It is not good, that is for sure. And then, of course, the Niners game this Sunday against Pittsburgh is going to be the Fox game of the week, so it'll be on the national broadcast.
There you go.
Starting out good week one. That's another thing. You look at the NFL stuff, you're like, do I need the ticket? How many games are on prime time? How many games are nationally? But a lot of times you don't know until it gets a lot closer.
Right.
It's all part of their plan.
And it's the way their season's going, right? I mean,
they'll flex some games. Yeah. Now, I think they said that they were not they weren't going to flex any Thursday night games if a team already has a Thursday night game scheduled. I think that's going to be what happens because Thursday night games are the worst for NFL players.
Right.
For us as fans, we love Thursday night games because it gives us some NFL on Thursday nights.
The first one isn't so bad. Because then you get a longer week, like the first Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Chiefs and Lions this week. All right, that Thursday doesn't really hinder you too much because now you get an extra long week after that. But, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's keep on going. USC took care of Nevada 66-14. Caleb Williams threw for 319 and 5 touchdowns. Just kind of continuing that Heisman campaign. I mean, I know they struggled a little bit. Well, I don't say struggle, but they let San Jose State score 28 points. But I will say San Jose State looked decent against Oregon State as well. Any thoughts or concerns on this one, Jay?
What was the final that they put up? Do you know that? San Jose State?
San Jose State,
when I
Oregon
saw,
State.
I think they only had 3 or 6 points.
I remember.
But I tapped out around the
I did tap out as well. I just had a 3-game parlay on Sunday with Rutgers, Oregon State, and Florida State money lines. And at one point I was like, come on, Oregon State.
Took Northwestern 59 minutes to score a touchdown.
I know. Poor Northwestern.
I know. I hate it. I mean, if Rutgers is making you look bad, that is not.
Things aren't going well. They do have a beautiful $270 million football facility right on the shore of Lake Michigan.
Oh, my goodness.
I saw that. It's pretty. It's like all glass walls all the way around it.
Wow.
Just don't throw rocks.
Never throw rocks at a glass house.
That's right.
That's true. Oregon State 42-17, but it was 7-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then it was 21. Yeah, no. It felt, I think I was looking at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
It felt closer.
Well, San Jose State put up 28 on USC and 17 on Oregon State, which, I mean, obviously you can't take those games and be like, well, this is how it's going to play out, because it never works out like that.
That's for sure.
I think it does speak to Oregon State having a little bit better of a defense than what USC does.
I would agree with that 100%. But yeah, 66-14, Caleb Williams kind of 2 games into the season as they had that week 0 game, and he's off to a good start on his Heisman defense. I will say it is very hard to win the Heisman Trophy back-to-back. There is certainly some bias when it comes to trying to win that back-to-back. Next up, you had number 7, Penn State against West Virginia. At half, it was a little bit close. It was 14-7 at the end of the first half, but I thought Penn State did what they needed to do, take care of business against a decent West Virginia opponent. They scored 17 points in that final quarter to kind of solidify that. Alar had 325 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Boise State is Michael Penix Jr. an outside shot for the Heisman. We'll talk about those Heisman's odds at some point in this show, but 56-19. Boise State got out to that 6-0 lead, but sometimes that is a little deceiving because it lit a fire under Washington, who scored 28 points in that second quarter to go up 28-7 at halftime, finishing that game 56-19. Penix threw for 450 yards and 5 touchdowns in that one, Jay.
Good gracious.
Against the Broncos.
They were not at the Blue Monster, I guess. No, they were in Washington. Okay.
Yeah, they were in Washington.
The Blue Monster is also in Miami because that's Doral.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Trump Doral.
Yeah.
This day and age.
But I think that
Boise has the blue turf, yeah.
And the locker rooms are painted, the visitor locker rooms painted pink as well.
Is that, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Psychological warfare.
That's it.
There you go.
Yeah.
A little gamesmanship. I know we're recapping week 1 here, but last year you had Texas put all of the Alabama fans in the upper deck, and so this week at Bryant-Denny, all the Texas fans will be in the upper deck. So, I mean, of course, you're going to have some that are sprinkled. They got the money and everything. Texas is allowed to sell from Bryant-Denny, the allotment there for Texas is all going to be upper deckers.
See, I love that.
I do too.
That's why you have a home field advantage.
Like LSU in Texas a couple years, they had that issue with the bands and no air conditioning and all of that stuff. Yeah. I mean, that one's a little bit more inhumane, I guess, but hey.
To a certain degree. It's college football, though. It's college football. All right, Penix had a great outing, and then we'll do 2 more here real quick. Texas took care of business against Rice, 37-10. Quentin Ewers threw for 260 and 3 touchdowns. I guess is what's his face Manning third on the depth chart for Texas?
I would believe so. I don't think he's going to get much play, and I think that's a good move by Sark. It keeps Quinn Ewers confident, so you don't have a guy with a huge name like that breathing down your back. I think it keeps camaraderie in the locker room, and it also gives Arch time to develop.
Yeah.
And quarterbacks need that, especially when you go from the spotlight's always been on him and stuff, but there's a big difference in high school football, even if it's at a big-time program and you've got your family generations there. But when you go to Texas, that's a little bit bigger of an atmosphere.
Yeah.
I would say maybe not bigger than what Tennessee was, but to some extent, I think it was bigger than Ole Miss when Eli and
in this day and age with social media and all that stuff, I mean, as soon as that announcement pops, it's just going to be wild. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think good move. Yeah, Malik Murphy was the second quarterback. He played, about 10 snaps or so after Quentin Ewers came out. And then you had Tennessee taking care of business against Virginia, 49-13. Joe Milton threw for 201 and 2 touchdowns, and I'm guessing he came out of the game fairly early.
And then they started playing better.
Yeah. Now they rushed for 287 yards with Jalen Wright rushing for 112 yards, and then Dylan Simpson had 3 touchdowns. I know emotional game for Virginia on the road when they come back home for their game this upcoming weekend. They'll be honoring the players that were tragically killed in that shooting last year, and I think one of the football players will be back on the field that was recovered from
like
the
their coach said, for them to be on the field was a victory for them, and I know that a lot of the times, especially us, we don't look at many moral victories, but that one is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, game kind of went as expected, but Virginia, not known for being a football powerhouse, kind of held their own a little bit there. All right, we'll hit one more. Notre Dame and Sam Hartman took care of Tennessee State 56-3. Sam Hartman threw for 194 yards and 2 touchdowns. A lot of rushing in that game. Notre Dame rushed for 221 on the ground, but a lot of the backup quarterback, Steve Angeli, threw for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. So So trying to keep Hartman fresh a little bit, I guess, giving some other guys some reps, because this is Hartman's last year, right?
Yeah, and you don't want to see him get injured either, because that changes the whole trajectory of your season.
Yep.
And, with Tennessee State, Eddie George is the head coach over there, right? Former running back for Ohio State and for the Houston Oilers and the Tennessee Titans. But it just kind of goes to show you how popular, how big, how far the reach is of Deion Sanders for the magnitude that he was able to bring to all HBCUs and wherever he goes. I mean, he's just a talking point.
Yep.
And you've got other very qualified coaches in the HBCU level that just don't have the popularity.
Yeah, absolutely. Notre Dame will go to NC State this weekend. Kind of their first real quote-unquote test there on the road NC State is in Raleigh, I'm pretty sure. And then Central Michigan, but with the big matchup being on the 23rd against Ohio State. When we get back, Jay, we will break down these picks and see where we all stand after week one. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Approaching that turn, Jay, maybe what? We just teed off on 7?
Yes, sir.
On the green, hopefully?
Yes, sir.
Putting for birdie?
Yep, birdie. 2 under.
2 under?
Yep.
Nice, you birdied 6, too.
Yeah, that's you. You're 2 under.
No. We know that's not true.
I got about 2 minutes left in the first half.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's about spot on. Football games are an hour long.
It was so funny earlier. They were talking about Scott Van Pelt basically calling some NFL, I guess, this year, and my mind automatically went to Bo Van Pelt, the golfer. I'm thinking, whoa, hold on, Bo Van Pelt's going to be calling college or
you are probably the only one in the world that thinks Bo Van Pelt when somebody says Van Pelt referring to sports. But that's fair. I'll give you that. Just recapping the rest of the games. Oregon, like I said earlier today, hung 81 on Portland State. I believe Portland State is an FCS school. Bo Nix threw for 287 yards, 3 touchdowns. They took him out of the game to get him some rest after they scored 50 points in that first half. Pretty wild. The over-under cover was pretty much done early in that third quarter. Kansas State took care of Southeast Missouri 45-0. We've already talked about Colorado and TCU 45-42, one of the biggest storylines of week 1 in college football. Wisconsin took care of business 38-7 against Buffalo. A little scary there at the end of the first half. They were only up 14-10 on Buffalo and ended up pulling away there, scoring 24 points in that second half to win 38-17. Oklahoma took care of Arkansas State and Sad Butch Jones 73-0. Took care of business there. North Carolina, South Carolina, kind of expected. I did pick South Carolina in our pick'ems, but kind of expected that game to go that way. Spencer Rattler he threw for a lot of yards, no touchdowns, threw for 353, but Drake May and that North Carolina defense seemed to outplay South Carolina in that one. Ole Miss took care of Mercer 73-7. Texas A&M 52-10 against New Mexico. Tulane took care of South Alabama. This is one of the ones I thought South Alabama was going to get that one, and that was my one in my parlay. Then one of my parlays that one didn't cover, but Tulane 37-17. Iowa beat Utah State 24-14. Offensive coordinator just shy of that 25-point mark, but hopefully they can make a bowl game so he can keep his contract. We'll break down that FSU-LSU game here in just a little bit. Oregon State took care of business, as we mentioned, 42-17 over San Jose State. And then last night, the Duke Blue Devils, sorry, Linda, they did not the Duke Blue Devils looked real solid against the Clemson Tigers. So let's review our picks. We already talked about the Florida-Utah pick. David picked Florida. Me and Jay took the Utah Utes. And then Colorado, TCU. All three of us took TCU. So no dice there. No change of anything. South Carolina, North Carolina. Jay, you took South Carolina. David and I took UNC. So we got that one. And then I put on there Washington State, Colorado State. All three of us took Washington State. And I think Washington State drummed Colorado State in that one. Coastal Carolina, UCLA. Coastal Carolina ended up losing that one. David took UCLA. We took the Shawns. You just did it to be nice. And then FSU, LSU. David took LSU, and myself and Jay took FSU to win that one. And then Clemson and Duke. I took Duke. Y'all took Clemson. And then Bay, Mosley. David got the dub on that one. Arnold Sneeds did not play because of bad field conditions. And that's their second time that they've driven somewhere to go play football and haven't been able to play a game.
Yeah, really? That stinks.
Yeah. Well, remember all that rain that happened?
Yeah.
I think they got hit a little harder up there than we did down here. And then North Bay Haven, we all picked North Bay Haven, and Holmes County took care of business against North Bay Haven. So 9 total possible wins in that one, with that Arnold Sneeds game getting canceled. Jay, you've got 3. David, you've got 4, and I've got 5 with that Duke pick over Clemson. So very close after week 1. I'll build the week 2 stuff here. We'll go 5 college, 5 NFL. Are you in David's pick'em?
Man, you still got room, David?
Yep.
It hasn't started yet.
Yeah,
starts on Thursday.
I got to promote that pretty heavily this week, off the air, of course. And, you got 2 days. So if you want to
Dos Dios. Get in.
I will get in.
I have my checklist of all the things I got to make sure I do, and that's one of them.
That's why I like to have as many things as possible in the same app. So, you know what I mean?
Oh, ESPN's fantastic, for that, because then you just drop down. I got Liam's in there now, too, so... But yeah, interesting. I think we already talked about this. I took Florida plus 4.5. They obviously did not cover that one. I did take Nebraska plus 7.5. I thought they were going to win that game outright. Ended up hitting that one. And then I did the 3-game Utah money line, Nebraska money line, North Carolina State money line. Again, Nebraska was looking good at the end. We talked about this on Friday, I'm pretty sure, and they threw those couple interceptions. And then from Saturday, South Alabama plus 6.5, Coastal Carolina plus 15.5. I really wanted just to win, but they ended up covering. And then Colorado plus 20.5. South Alabama is the only one on that one that did not cover. This was just a stupid one. I took the under on UMass and Auburn at 51.5. Just because I have the past feelings. Auburn never does really well in that opening game, but they certainly look good. And we didn't really talk about that game at all. But did you see any of that one, Jay?
I didn't, but
that was on the old ESPN.
Yes, they will. They're gonna be great this year.
Peyton Thorne, he looked okay. He was missing some throws early in the red zone, but I tell you what, when Robbie Ashford got in there with the Robbie Ashford package where he can run and throw, Hugh Freeze is already kind of doing some Freeze stuff there at Auburn. But record crowd at Auburn because they added some more seats over the offseason, so they did the Freeze out, which I thought was pretty cool, instead of a whiteout. So embracing the Hugh Freeze era. And Jarquez Hunter didn't even play in that one.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and you guys have Auburn. You see, you guys go to California.
Yeah, this is the furthest Hugh Freeze will have ever traveled for an away game.
Oh, my goodness.
Going out there to Cal. Yeah. I wish Coastal would have took Cal and Auburn could have had UCLA. Although Coastal looked good in that game. And I was talking to Alan a little bit while I was talking to you, and, when Jamie Chadwell was there, he's now at Liberty, it was more of that spread option, whereas now they're still playing out of the option, but Grayson McCall is spending a lot more time in the pocket, definitely a little bit different offensive strategy for him, so he was taking a beating during that game, and he's doing a great job stepping up in the pocket and making some throws, but threw 2 interceptions that game, and he's only had 8 interceptions prior to that game in his career.
Yeah.
But when you're being pressured that much and you got to get rid of the ball, it's a big-time stage for him. I was proud of Coastal for hanging in there. I still got him on the over on 7.5 wins for the season. Would have liked that UCLA one to kind of get that thing jump-started.
Do you think that maybe... I know that it's probably hard for you to answer this, but do you think he should have went to a Power 5 school for his final year? Like, he laid it all on the line for Coastal Carolina, but there's only so far that you can kind of go. Obviously, kudos to him for sticking with your guys and everything, but it seems like he's one of those dudes who could be in the NFL possibly, but I don't know. His draft stock would increase had he gone to a bigger school.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it because I'd like to talk about it. At one point, I thought he was going to Auburn, which I thought would have been really exciting.
That would have been so cool for you.
Yeah, a bit with the Auburn and Coastal connection. But I think he's already made such a name for himself. He's the only other. There's one other player that's ever won 3 straight Conference Players of the Year, and I forget who it was. I think it was Shannon Sharp maybe or something like that. That's just off the top of my head. So everybody knows who he is. They're playing some better opponents. They played on ESPN. I think he's Coastal through and through, and it probably, I think he's going to get drafted maybe in the 2nd round, maybe in the 3rd round next year. Hopefully, I don't know who he'll go to, but would it have increased his drafts? It's just you've got such a monster quarterback class coming out this year coming up with Caleb Williams and all that stuff. So would it have really mattered? Would he regretted leaving Coastal, which has kind of got him to where he is? That's kind of my thoughts on that.
Is he a Heisman watch potential? Or no. Is it because he's at Coastal Carolina?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I believe that.
Is that going to change in the future? That's my question. It's like, why do we have to pick a Heisman that's at a big time program?
Because like we say, it's usually the best team or the best player on one of the best teams.
It doesn't always happen like that, but it is. No, typically.
There's a lot of bias in the Heisman.
Yeah.
That's why I think, in my opinion, it's going to be tough for Caleb Williams to win back-to-back Heisman trophies.
Who do y'all think came away with the better odds, and not the actual physical Vegas odds, but from Colorado, Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter? Which one do y'all think should have the leg up in the Heisman race if they are perceived to be in the Heisman race?
Yeah.
Which I don't see why they wouldn't.
I mean, they got odds now. There's a lot of guys that have odds now. Yeah. You want to go first?
I mean, Travis Hunter was like plus 15,000 going into this.
Yeah.
He's got to be like still in the plus range, of course, but like closer to like that 600-700 area now.
What was Sanders' yards for this past weekend?
He threw for 510 and 4 touchdowns.
510. I mean, that's insane.
That is.
Yeah, I go with
38 of 47 for 510 yards and 4 passing touchdowns.
There you go.
Now, Travis Hunter played 129 total snaps, 100-degree heat, like I mentioned before, 11 receptions for 119 yards, and then on defense, he had 3 tackles, an interception, and 1 pass breakup. And that interception he had was crucial to the direction of that game. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm still going Sanders. I mean, I think over 500 yards first game right out of the gate. That's impressive. We'll just kind of see how he goes throughout the season, but I'm going Sanders.
What was his completion percentage too? Wasn't that gaudy?
Yeah, 30 is 37. Yeah. The passing yards was a record, right?
Yeah.
He was 37 of 47. That's a 78% completion rate.
You're throwing 78% of your passes for 500 yards now at a completion rate. To me,
your first Power 5 game debut.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, it's Sanders just because, wow, like that kid was just impressive every time. You're like, okay, you can't continue to play at this clip. And then same way on the opposite end of the ball. First off, regardless if you like it or not, kudos to Deion Sanders for trotting a guy out there like that, Travis Hunter, and letting him play both sides of the ball in that heat in such a big game and everything. And I don't necessarily agree 100% with, at halftime, Sanders was asked if he caught those 2 touchdown passes. The Heisman would be chilling at his crib. But for me, it was one of those things. He catches those 2 passes. Now he's got, that would be 3 touchdowns? Yeah. And then you got the interception as well. And I saw it from the second drive, I think, from Colorado. The quarterback had thrown kind of a deep pass or whatever, and Travis Hunter didn't even look at the receiver. Yeah. He just played the ball, and it's like, okay, like this is exactly what you want out of a cornerback, and then for him to get out there and play offensively, it's like, all right, okay, first half I can see it, but there's no way you're going to be able to do it in the second half in this heat. And he did. And it looked like he never slowed down. If he continues that clip, it's going to be really hard to not give him the Heisman.
It's going to be interesting when not that TCU had a lackluster passing attack, but when they start playing the Oregons, the USCs, when you've got some of the best receivers in the country playing out there, where is he more valuable? Is he more valuable on, and I 100% agree he's more valuable on defense than he is on offense.
Totally with you. I've got my eyes and ears open when adversity hits, when USC is playing Colorado. What's this father-son dynamic gonna truly be like? Yeah. I mean, hopefully Deion keeps his cool during the adversity. I mean, if he's practicing what he's preaching, I think everything's going to be fine. It's just, let's see what happens when adversity
strikes. But I agree with both of you. I think Sanders is the one that's got to be more in the Heisman conversation than Travis Hunter, just because quarterbacks seem to get a little more favoritism when it comes to the Heisman Trophy. But, I mean, just watching him, how well he could do on the move with the ball, I thought was fantastic, because I hadn't really seen a lot of him playing. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Jackson State games. I watched a couple. Yeah. But obviously what Travis Hunter did is, just from an athlete standpoint, just unbelievable. There's not a lot of people who can do that. But I thought Sanders was much more impactful when with obviously his stats, but also his impact on the game. I think we got some afternoon delight coming up here in a second, Jay. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for Mosley Dolphin football. The rivalries are back.
Listen to every game right here with play-by-play in ultra high fidelity.
Mosley Dolphin football on ESPN Northwest Florida is presented by Panama City Toyota, Orthopedic Specialists, Ellis Agency Insurance, Barbaritos Southwestern Grill and Cantina, Culligan Water, Chapman Wealth Management, and Gulf Coast Aquarium.
Your authorized Seacom and Zoomed dealer.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze around 10 miles per hour out of the south and temps near 89. We will have clear skies tonight and be warm at 75. And sunny tomorrow and a high 87. Sunshine much of the day, but with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening Thursday with a temp of 87. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Me and my I Do crew have 50 years experience, and we have more certified diamonds in stock at the best prices in town. So if you're tired of high-pressure salespeople, come see me, your diamond girl, and my I Do crew at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, because we don't work on commissions. We work for smiles and I Do's.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs, with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5, and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
And the Braves are back in front.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida. The locals love him.
You're going to love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back as we make the turn to the afternoon here on the Inside Drive. As always, you can listen live and local on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida for the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. We do have a caller on the line. Coach Whitworth, how are you after this glorious weekend of college football?
Well, I'm plus, baby. You know what that means?
It means you're on the plus side of the field. You're feeling good.
That's right.
There
Okay. Who's with you today? Who's riding shotgun?
Jay.
I'm riding shotgun, Coach.
We got him till Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So he says.
Well, maybe next Friday's
Cool.
still open.
Oh, God, we've already made a change.
Hey, Jay, I love you, but I was hoping Brian was there because he's more professional about gambling. I want to talk gambling today. I want to talk golf.
That's fine. Go ahead, man. I'm all ears.
Well, before I do that, I want to rate the military academies, okay? And I'm going to hurt myself at the start because number 7 is the Coast Guard Academy, okay? Because they've lost several straight ball games over the years to the Merchant Marine Academy, which is number 6, okay? Well, coming in at number 5 is the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis, okay? So pump the brakes on it, Notre Dame. All right. So you're saying, well, you're running out of academies. No, I'm not. Where are we? Number 4, United States Military Academy at West Point, okay? Tied for 2nd and 3rd, Citadel and VMI. You got me?
Yep. Coastal used to play VMI every year when they were in the Big South Conference.
And Citadel did not score a touchdown this weekend.
Man, they beat. This is not for gambling purposes. It's for amusement only. Anyway, and number 1, of course, despite my passive-aggressive love for Glenn Manley and Michigan Eddie, is the United States Air Force Academy. Okay? So, after that, let's talk Florida and Florida State.
Okay.
My 2 big wins, okay? All right. Now, what? And I'm going to ask a rhetorical question. In your mind, what's the most important factor in deciding how to bet any football game?
What, you said it was rhetorical.
Yeah, well, I want to hear your answer, though, so I can, cut your legs off.
Let's hear it, Jay.
You want to know what my thought process is and bet
Yes,
in?
Jay, I want to know. I just want to know what's the most important factor. You might say home field, color of jerseys, whatever.
Yeah,
What is it?
Yeah, I think it's home field. I go home field and history of which we don't have much history in week 1, but I'll go history as throughout the season.
How deep's your history? I want to ask you, is it like multi-year history?
Oh no, it's in season history. So
Right, because multi-year history is an irrelevancy. That's what Alabama people bet on. Irrelevant multi-season history. All right. Ryan, what's your most important factor?
Trends, betting trends, and the weather. You're talking about betting,
How
right?
about who's got the best quarterback?
Nah. Overrated position.
Oh, it's not important. That's overrated? Well, I got a man crush on one Jordan Travis, have had for about 7 months, and he's better than almost every quarterback. I hate to admit it, being a diehard ball fan, than any quarterback in the SEC, including Jaden Daniels. That's how I hit that one, okay? I don't know Florida's quarterback's name, but
Graham Mertz.
Yeah, I didn't ask you to tell me. I don't know it. I don't have to know, okay? So Florida is in the doldrums right now, brother.
As to be expected.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Tennessee, Peyton Manning couldn't beat him. And I love Peyton Manning. He's in Little Rock right now. I thought he was coming next week. Anyway, or he's probably flying out already because he did breakfast this morning. But I didn't go see him because, man, he's the ugliest one of the Mannings. You know that?
And I'm not here to judge what the Mannings look like.
Forehead. I'll judge him for you since you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
There
I
you go.
love Tennessee. I don't like Ole Miss. Archie and Eli are both prettier than Peyton. Olivia, of course, is prettier than all of them. That's his mama. She's a homecoming queen, and she was legit. But Peyton's got that big old forehead, make you think James Hale's not wearing a wig. Whatever. I shouldn't go there. But Let me get down to business now. Jaden Daniels was one of the 5 quarterbacks to go to SEC Media Days, okay? All right, he cannot start at Arkansas. He cannot start at Tennessee. He can't start at, where's the other guys from? Let's see, Missouri and, no, not Missouri. Oh, Mississippi State. He might start there. Jordan Travis could compete at every school in the SEC. And it pains me to say that because, you know, where he goes, right?
Yep. That's why he's
I'm very enthusiastic about this. Anyway, did we win the Walker Cup, or did the Limeys and the Gales beat us?
We won the Walker Cup. We sure did. Did you tune in this weekend?
I didn't get. Hey, I'm on Air TV, brother. They didn't say nothing about it.
Yeah, it was Golf Channel. It was morning televised live.
Considering it's overseas.
It's Golf Channel, and I don't like that because I'm on fixed income. All right, now, what about Ryder Cup? I won't talk about Walker Cup, but I think they should have sent that guy who's a runner-up in the U.S. Amateur over there to intimidate him physically. He could have been like a roving assistant captain, But I digress. What about the, what's your bets on the, are we going to choke on the Ryder Cup?
It's going to be a tough one. It's overseas. I still don't like the Justin Thomas pick over Sam Burns and Keegan Bradley and who's the other one?
Keegan Bradley?
Yeah. Ryder Cup I go with past history. I'm not like
I hate that guy. I don't hate Keegan, but I don't like his dancing. I'd rather watch Kevin Na waggle for 35 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever than to watch Keegan do that two-step back and forth. Of course, they always cut it off camera. And I tell you what, I'd pick Pat Bradley, his aunt, because you know what? She could whip their asses. I mean, physically, not on the golf course. I love you guys. Be cool and don't bet colors, okay? Bye.
Never do. That was Coach Whitworth with your Peyton Manning family looks. Alan, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm here.
There you go. How are you doing after this wild weekend of college football?
What? Wow, what was wild about it? Did I miss something?
Nothing. You didn't miss anything. I hope you didn't watch it.
It is the best weekend of football I have ever experienced and can only be topped by having Nick Bosa go ahead and sign his contract and confirm he's going to be playing week 1.
Ugh, nervous.
Florida got embarrassed. Clemson got embarrassed. The SEC mostly was full of losers. It was great.
So it makes
it was absolutely great.
So beautiful.
I could drink Gator Tears right now, just like Gatorade. That's the quench part of the Gatorade. Is the tears.
Is the tears.
That's their secret ingredient.
It's the hydration. Gator Tears. You heard it here, Jay?
Yes, I did.
What do you think? Go ahead. Keep going.
I was going to say, I want nothing more than the SEC to just be humble to the point where nobody talks but Bama and Georgia, because that's all the SEC is. I'm tired of it.
I concur. I agree.
I got a Georgia guy and a Bama guy sitting right here across from me. Auburn's on the up and up. Don't forget about old Coach Hugh in the freeze.
Yeah, they are. I'm waiting for them.
Does FSU move to the SEC?
I think I said this before the season started. With this current team, the only teams that should be beating us in the SEC are Georgia and maybe Alabama. And I say maybe on Alabama because I'm not sold that they are the Alabama of old, but I'm not saying they're bad either. They're just not the immortals that we're used to seeing.
Right, got dethroned by those Georgia Bulldogs. But while we got you on, let's talk. We've been talking about a lot of the show, as you've probably heard. But the old prime time and the victory over TCU. What are your thoughts? Too early to put them up on the pedestal, or are we staying realistic here? And if they can make it a game against Oregon and USC, then we might be able to talk.
I'll tell you the non-radio version when I'm off air. But I'm happy for Deion Sanders. Wish he had come home and wish he hadn't took our 5-star athlete. But, hey, at least they're winning.
Yeah,
I'm bitter, man. I really wanted him at Florida State. He's such a good salesman. He's got a great staff around him. And those kids, it's hard not to listen to him and buy into anything he says. Like anything. You would run through a wall for Deion Sanders if he was your coach. And that's honestly what you need to overcome a 20-point spread and to win a game of that magnitude for a program that only had one win. Those kids literally just started playing with each other this spring. Like, there's no continuity on that team, and he was able to get them all on the same page to not only compete with a program that was more established than what Colorado was, but to outright win 20-point underdog on the road. That's impressive.
Yeah, on the road, I think is one of the biggest things people forget a lot is, they went down to Fort Worth. Just wait for that first home game that they have and how wild that atmosphere is going to be. I mean, and they couldn't even fill the stadium last year. They were so bad. So it's amazing what one person can do. Can you think of another coach in college football right now that has the same type of passion and what he can get out of his players from a motivational standpoint than Prime? What do you guys think?
Charisma-wise, I would say Kirby Smart. I think he's up there. I think he's probably underrated because, I mean, he has so much talent with him. I think people sometimes overlook his ability to motivate, rally the troops. But the turnover that he deals with on a regular basis because he has so much talent and the consistency in which they win and how they don't beat themselves, I think Kirby Smart would be up there. And then other than that, I guess Nick Saban, he doesn't seem like the rah-rah guy anymore that he was when he was at LSU in his first, 5-6 years at Bama. So I think Prime, as far as, what you're asking, I think he's top 2, top 3 in the nation. You get him with some talent, he'll get the most out of those kids.
Yeah, getting the most out of these young men is certainly the way you hit that nail on the head. And I think Kirby Smith, Prime's also trying to build a brand and let everybody know about this brand. So he's getting so much more social media attention. He's putting a lot more out there on social media. Hell, for the commercials in the first half were Deion Sanders commercials. Yeah. He's brand.
He's got 2 big noon games, man. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they know exactly what they're doing.
Yep, driving those ratings.
Caleb Williams want me to eat double cheeseburgers from Wendy's, man.
And that commercial is awesome too. How they disrespect Matt Leinart like they do.
Man, that's poor Matt.
Yeah,
poor guy. Won a Heisman, goes to Cardinals. He does terrible. I still have a Matt Leinart jersey too. The Arizona Cardinals Matt Leinart jersey. I was big on them back when I was in college at Coastal before I met Bet. That's kind of USC's kind of with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and all this stuff. I was a bandwagon Trojan.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
It's okay. But yeah, the Heisman House commercials, I love those as well.
Those are good.
But
yeah, I love them too.
Getting back to Colorado, do you think, obviously there's so much overreaction because it's week 1, it's one game, we got a lot more games to go, but we were talking about it before on the show. Who would you put more into Heisman contention, Shedeur or Travis Hunter?
Oh, man.
It's a tough one.
The rare air of having a two-way player, shades of our buddy Charles Woodson, I got to go with Hunter right now. I think Hunter's going to excel regardless of their win or loss record. So much is built on a quarterback needing wins to really be in Heisman contention. I think Hunter, if he continues to play both ways at a high level, regardless of where their record is at the end of the year, he'll get an invitation.
Yeah. There you go. That'd be awesome. I mean, some updated Heisman odds. I've been wanting to kind of get to them, but Caleb Williams still the overwhelming favorite at plus 450. We've talked about it, Alan. Just really hard to win Heisman trophies back-to-back, kind of with that media bias, right?
Yeah. And I also want to say, too, I know, college football is very big. There's a lot going. There's hundreds and hundreds of schools, whereas when we watch professional sports, they're typically, 32 teams that we see. The talent pool is so broad in college, it's hard to really catch everybody. But Travis Hunter is the real deal. It didn't matter if he played at Jackson State, if he played at a JUCO. The kid is the real deal, man. And I think people need to understand, what they're watching is somebody special, and it's not because he's with Deion Sanders, and it's not because of what they just did last week, but you could put him on any program, and losing him for Florida State, I'm not gonna lie, it might have set us back for a playoff trip because he's really that kind of game changer.
Yeah, definitely one. He's kind of jumped up in all the books as low as plus 1,600 as high is plus 6,000. So if you can legally bet, it looks like FanDuel, plus 6,000 right now for Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. I think right about that same number. I think he's a little bit past. He's plus 8,000 there on FanDuel, plus 2,800 on DraftKings. But some of the big movers, obviously I mentioned Caleb Williams, but Michael Penix Jr. coming off that massive game he had there for Washington. He's down to plus 800, with Jordan Travis being right behind him. Some books have him at plus 850. Most have him at plus 900. So he's moving into that top 5 with J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix kind of rounding out the top 5 in those Heisman contenders. Anybody make a big move for you this weekend besides the two studs there from the Buffaloes?
No, I think that's about fair. Everybody else that produced, I mean, I expected that. I will admit, Colorado was a big surprise, man. Just the smoothness in which they executed their game plan. Like, that offense is fast.
Very fast.
They just outpaced air raid disciple in Sonny Dykes and TCU. I don't think people understand that. Like, this is nothing like what he did at Jackson State. He implemented this. He got a great coach from Kent State to help bring that about. But the way that they brought this about and were able to execute it across the board on both sides of the ball, like, it's just crazy. When you play that fast, you're going to give up 35 a game anyway.
Yeah.
But, like, I was impressed. I'm not going to lie. I was impressed, and I never thought I'd say that.
Well, that first quarter, I think we were even talking about it. Like, they were getting back to the ball and snapping quicker than TCU does, and I think TCU is one of the, fastest teams in the country when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know if I told you, if I sent it to another person, but I said the strategy when you play a team like TCU is you essentially have to play at their pace, get in front of them, and when you get in front, then bring it back to what you want it to be. But you can't let them dictate the tempo, and very rare is it that they'll run across a team that's able to do that efficiently. That's the difference between, like, a Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley air raid, and what you get out of Houston, like their air raid. That's like the difference in the two of them. So I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, I even think TCU was astonished. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, they got hit in the mouth early, and it looked like, and they even had something happened earlier in that game to Colorado too that kind of knocked. I don't know if it wasn't an interception because he didn't throw it. Didn't something happen early in that game that didn't favor Colorado? It was like I forget what it was.
Yeah,
I might be thinking of the Duke game last night when the Duke punter muffed that one. I thought Clemson was going to take it from there once that happened. But man, let's jump to that Clemson game. If we can hold you over a break, we may talk about the FSU as well. We got about 3 minutes left in this one. Little fun fact, real quick: Clemson and Duke. Clemson 4 and 5 star players on the rosters. Clemson 56. How many do you think Duke has, Jay? 4 and 5 stars on the roster. Think about it. It's Duke.
It's Duke. What? 12? 2.
56.
I was going to say it's got to be less than 5.
Yeah, 2, 4, or 5 stars combined there on the rosters. What did you think about last night's game? Duke kind of taking it to Clemson there.
If I'm a Clemson fan, I'm concerned because they got whipped.
Yep.
Absolutely whipped from start to finish by a team that was, better coached. That's what it was. Duke was better coached. They looked like a team that had a game plan, like they had scouted Clemson, and they were ready. It looked like what you would expect from, I guess Duke was in like week 8, and Clemson was in like week 2, so...
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, defensively, Duke certainly looked ready, and quarterback play, too. Riley, I forget his last name again. I can't.
Leonard.
Riley Leonard. I don't know why I can't remember that. Riley seemed to outplay Cade Klubnik for sure as well. Seemed to be the big difference. The kid just seemed to have more heart. Duke wanted it more last night as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was Clemson. Clemson's a team and a program that's been getting off by their name alone. They haven't been good the last couple of years, and I think this Duke team had a lot of confidence because of how they played them last year, and like you could like that the quarterback like Riley, like he like you said, he wanted it. He was a dog, and it was just impressive. I would call him Daniel Jones 2.0 by the end of the game.
Yes, go ahead, Jay.
No, I was just going to say, just knowing and seeing Dabo's coaching style years ago when Clemson was in the running, and they won that national championship years ago, he just seems a little deflated on the sidelines. I don't see that Dabo that I used to see back years ago.
The fire and the passion.
Yeah. I mean, you take Deion. I think Dabo and Deion kind of had. I mean, Dabo had that fire that Deion had back years ago, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, I mean, and
he had the talent to feel that fire.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. They're kind of that recruiting stuff. But yeah, I mean, 3 turnovers for Clemson, only 2 to Duke. Time of possession, Clemson had a little bit more, but that 0 for 2 on 4th downs made. I mean, statistically, Clemson, 422 total yards to 374 for Duke. That one interception thrown was a huge moment in the game. The biggest thing I saw there was just Clemson's inability to get the ball in the end zone when they were inside the red zone. I think 1 blocked field goal and 2 turnovers inside the red zone. Is that coaching, or what is that, Alan?
Combination of coaching and just poor execution. Outside of asking for the second field goal, I don't think Dabo and them did a bad job on that. But on the flip side, the Duke defense was, I mean, they were just amazing. Like, if you go back and watch the game and look at how they shortened the field when they had the end zone to their back, when there was like goal to go, like how the defense just kind of clamped down, it was just a great game plan. I think it was a perfect execution of what they call bend but don't break defense. Wake Forest does it a lot. I think it's probably a basketball school thing because they don't have the talent to match man-to-man on 4 and 5 stars. But when you get in that 10-yard, 15-yard box where you can't run those 30-yard routes, where your speed doesn't necessarily dictate how it goes, that's when you really learn the most out of like what your team's made of. And I think Duke was ready and Clemson wasn't.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, you would be surprised at the final score. Duke had 7 penalties for 45 yards. Clemson only had 1 penalty. They outgained them in total yards, passing yards, and rushing yards. Only had 1 more turnover. But like you said, Duke's defense, when it mattered, seemed to step up and kind of keep the game in their favor. That's for sure. You got time to hang on, Alan? We got a break here.
Yeah. All
right, we'll jump into that FSU-LSU game when we get back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Set your alarm clock to wake up with the Coach Hales Show on ESPN Northwest Florida. In-depth local and college sports from expert insiders and a dash of controversy.
Can be deadly.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9.
Nothing says good morning like a drunken human alarm clock.
We're live from the J. Michael Studio.
We all know he loves the Florida Gators, but that's okay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
I can control the world.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, mostly sunny and a temperature of 89 with an 8 to 12 miles per hour wind out of the south. Clear skies tonight, a calm wind and warm near 75. Sunny and 87 tomorrow. 87 and sunshine most of the day aside from a likelihood of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening Thursday. This is your Tuesday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an eco-friendly, all-electric Kia EV6 that gives you the movement that inspires. You can live fully charged while saving now and down the road on fuel costs. Schedule a test drive today and explore the electrified Kia vehicles at Billbird Kia. You have to drive it to believe it. Now offering $7,500 EV lease bonus when you lease a new 2023 Kia EV6 wind electric all-wheel drive for 36 months. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology with a performance that minimizes the impact of our environment. Billbird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or BillbirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We make it easy to switch to EV ownership and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Close-in lease based on a new 2023 Kia EV6 model number N5452. No security deposit required. $7,500 EV lease bonus not available for cash. Subject to credit approval, dealer participation, and vehicle availability. $49.99 due at signing for well-qualified leases. See dealer for complete details. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Billbird Kia warranty. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/5/23.
back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's alive! Look alive! We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. If you were listening to Coach Hale show this morning, you heard the keyword for the day for our next big contest. We sent you to Daytona, so now we want to send you up there to Talladega for the, that's not this weekend coming up. It's the weekend after, right, Jay?
I'll have to check that.
You're the NASCAR guy, man. You got this. Yeah. But anyway, it's the Yellowwood 500, Big Auburn booster, by the way, up there at Talladega Super Speedway. You heard the keyword this morning. We will announce your name prior to going into this next break, and then you got to race to the phones. Give us a call, and fastest time's going to win some tickets. Go ahead, Jay.
They are in Kansas this Sunday, and then they'll be at Talladega.
Sweet. So you have plenty of time to make some plans coming up on that, September 17th?
October 1st, I thought, was the Talladega race. Yellowwood 500.
This is why David Hayes is behind the glass and you're here in the glass with me like a fishbowl.
And I digress. You're correct.
Plenty of time then to make your plans. There you go. Right there on October 1st. Alan, we still got you on?
Yes, sir.
I know you love it. Your Florida State Seminoles. Really, I'm going to call it's more like 45-17. I know LSU scored kind of late in the fourth quarter on that pass play. But what do you think of the game? Obviously, it was a close first half game. LSU was actually leading that one 17-14. And then some halftime adjustments by Norvell and the defensive coordinator. And Florida State just looked hungry coming out in that second half.
Yeah, I mean, I know we won, but I am definitely going to say this, and I'm probably speaking on behalf of every Florida State fan. That first half officiating was the most ridiculous, stuff I've ever seen, man. That first personal foul we got, they didn't even hit the quarterback. The defenders fell with the quarterback, essentially trying to hold them up, and they gave us a 15-yard penalty. And then we got a penalty on a hit out of bounds that I watched last night happen, and nothing went down. Yeah. So I'm like, dude, we had 60 yards of penalties in the first half.
Yeah, 7 total for 64 yards.
Close in the first half. I thought Florida State dominated. I'm not a fan of Brian Kelly, so anytime we beat him, I'm loving it.
Well, and interesting you say the whole Brian Kelly versus Mike Norvell. So back in 2020, Notre Dame played FSU for those two games. Kelly beat, I'm just going to do the coaches. Kelly beat Norvell 42-26. First you lose by a lot, then you lose by a little. 2021 right here in Tallahassee a couple years ago. In overtime, I believe, Brian Kelly won 41-38. Then you win by a little. Last year, as we know, FSU with the blocked field goal kick won 24-23. And then yesterday, obviously winning by a lot, 45-24. So Norvell has kind of flipped the script on the matchup against Kelly there, as you mentioned, Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and I want to take this time to be critical of Norvell, too, even though we won.
Play calling was
from
a
an
little
X and O standpoint. I could be on this hill by myself. I love Norvell as a coach per se. I've watched him since Memphis and stuff, so I'm familiar with his general approach to attacking teams. But this sideline to sideline screen passing stuff that he's brought with him from Memphis, we don't have the personnel for that. When the Seminoles are attacking vertically, going downfield, they're so good. There's no reason for us to get behind the chains because we're trying to be cute and run a screen when we got 6-7 receivers. They're all small forward, power forwards. Just throw the ball down the field. Jordan Travis has one of the prettiest deep passes in the nation. Why are we throwing screen passes? Just take it out the playbook.
Yeah, absolutely. 359 total yards passing, 494 total yards, 135 on the ground. But the big key stats I thought in this one, third down efficiency, LSU was 3 for 10, 0 for 3 on fourth downs, which flipped the possession 3 different times. And FSU was 9 of 14 on third down, and they were 1 for 1 on fourth down, with 35 minutes and 23 seconds of the total play clock, including and they were 20. And LSU only had 24 minutes and 37 seconds. So think Florida State kept the ball. I would like to see that broken down between the half, too, because I'm sure that second half was, well, they scored a lot of points, so maybe not so much. But good start for the FSU Seminoles. A lot of people thought LSU was going to win this one. FSU kind of pulled away. What were you most impressed with? Obviously not the screen passes there from Norvell, but what were you most impressed with Florida State's play this past Sunday?
I was most impressed with how well we handled the physicality of LSU. We were the more physical team for the entirety of the game, and I think there was one sequence in the first quarter, maybe like our third series, where they popped us a couple times pretty good, and our defense returned the favor like immediately, and of course, one of them resulted in a 15-yard penalty. But either way, like there was this approach from our team, from the Seminoles. There was this thing where it just seemed like they were not going to let LSU bully them. And we're not a big team in the trenches and along the edges, but we played like the bigger team, and that was impressive to me. And I look forward to seeing more of that throughout the season.
Yeah, the Southern Miss Golden Eagles traveling into Tallahassee for that first game, and looks like kind of leaning up towards that. The Clemson game, I think, is what, week 4 in Clemson?
Yeah.
That's going to be a big one. Hopefully Clemson can get some stuff together. I hope FSU goes up there. And, I mean, if FSU beats Clemson, I mean, they're on their way to where do you think some of their other hang-ups could be? I mean, Miami, potentially? I don't know.
I think from what we saw the other night, the only thing that's stopping Florida State
is Florida State
until they get to the playoffs, and maybe another game with Clemson down the road. Well, we got to see how the first one plays out anyways, but it seems like the way that they played such an inspired brand of football the other night, they're the only people that could get in their way.
Yeah. What do you think, Alan?
I want to say the Pittsburgh game on November 4th might be a hiccup. We're traveling to Pittsburgh. Hopefully it's not super cold. And then we've got Florida the week after that. So there's basically what in the gambling industry we call a look-ahead game. That's usually a danger spot when you're talking about keeping the team focused. You got your rival the week after that, and you're on the road against a conference opponent. That would probably be the only hiccup that I would be worried about after the Clemson game.
Yeah, there you go. Coming up on 9/23, same days as the Toys for Kids tournament. Any quarterback out there impress you more than another after week 1? Besides Jordan Travis?
Williams. Did anybody see his,
oh my gosh, yeah,
wrist fading out of bounds, lob pass he did?
There's a reason why the Cardinals are tanking for him. We haven't even started the season yet.
It was incredible. I didn't think I could still be impressed with them, but man, my friend said it best. He looked at me and asked, "Why is this guy still in college?" I was like, "That's a good question."
It's a great question. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't go out last year. I mean, why do you think he came back? National championship?
Probably to avoid what happened to Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, but it ain't going to get no better with the Cardinals.
Yeah, just trying to avoid going to a certain team. Yeah. That's a tough one. That's for sure. You got the maybe the Cardinals end up winning 6 or 7 games. I don't know.
Heck no.
They're last in the power rankings right now for the NFL.
So they are tanking. The Cardinals are tanking. Is that legit?
100%.
Okay.
And even if Kyler Murray plays, don't let nobody lie to you. They still tanking, even if he plays. They're not good.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Kyler Murray's even playing this year. I'd be surprised if he did.
Nah, he's not. I don't think so.
We haven't done a Braves update, Alan, and we are running out of time on today's show, which I knew would happen. But after this weekend, not weekend, but what was it? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're now 6 games ahead of the Dodgers in the NL and 14.5 games ahead of the next opponent. They've got 26 games left. They got to hit 1.85 home runs a game to break the record. But did you see Acuna hit the hardest hit home run so far this year during that series? I think it was the Saturday night game.
I saw Acuna crank. I saw Freddie Freeman look bitter. And I saw him do his little shuffle going around third, and I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Braves are their pitching seems to be heating up a little bit, too, going into the right time.
Yeah, it's been amazing. The last time we won the World Series, we hit a stride like this in the pitching department, and it was perfectly timed, and they carried us all the way through, and we essentially have better bats this time around. So I'm really excited. I'm going to stay humble because, again, anything can happen. We still have a month and some change of baseball left to play. But if the Braves win, if you're not a Braves fan, stay away from me because you're going to hate me.
Luckily, down in this part of the woods, it's pretty much Braves or bust unless you've relocated from somewhere else, which a lot of people have, and you've carried that fandom with you. But the Braves leading pretty much every offensive stat or category right now, as Jay mentioned on Friday. And Acuna, man, you called it when we started doing this show many months ago. He was going to be that 30-60 guy, and he certainly is.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think, Jay? Braves?
I don't know. Acuna, he said the vows last week, didn't he? Is he married up?
Oh, yes. Yeah, great point. Yep. Yeah. Ever since then, he's been even more on fire than he was before.
Now, did he get married the same day he got the 30-60?
I'm pretty sure.
I think that's oof. Yeah.
I think he did.
Yeah.
I think it was like he literally got married and then hit a grand slam or something.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. That was when that's when he hits 30. That was his 30th home run. Day he got married, then propelled them to beat the Dodgers 8-7 in that one.
Wow.
But yeah,
I mean,
that shows your priority.
From my experience, it always starts out like that. But let's check back in a couple years.
Yeah. There you go. Ricky was kind of, let's see where he is. Although, I think baseball seems to be the priority. You get married the same day you got a game. Do they just go to the courthouse, you think, Jeff?
I don't know. I don't know the details.
Do you know if you're a notary in Florida, you can also legally marry people?
Oh, yes, this is true.
Fun fact, Beth's a notary.
Can you marry yourself? Like, not yourself, but like, can you officiate your own wedding?
Like in third person?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is Beth notarized to marry?
She's a notary, and she's married a couple before.
Has she
It was
really?
more like a technicality, Mary, where like, hey, I'll meet you in the parking lot. We'll do this thing, sign the paperwork, and we're good to go. She hasn't done like a beach wedding or anything.
She's
like
a
that.
witness.
She's an officiant. I think that goes male or female for officiant.
Does that come with marriage counseling as well, or
no? That's where you step in.
I got you.
Golf. What is it?
Just call it quits. I divorced the Falcons not too long ago.
Yeah, you're like, don't be
not in a
talking to
better
me about
place.
marriages. I divorced my football team. You and others.
Yes, sir.
Alan, anything else you want to?
He got a hitting coach.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
But anything else you want to talk about real quick before we got to jump on this NASCAR stuff?
In case I don't get on tomorrow because I am in the bunker, I got the Lions to cover on Thursday. I just did my NFL podcast. Just don't let it sneak up on you for the folks who want to bet because Thursday is going to come quick.
Very quick.
A tidbit, the Chiefs were 4-10 against the spread last year when the spread was 3.5 or higher. So that's some good data to take into consideration when you're betting the Chiefs this year.
And also, if you want to get those futures in, you got to get them in now because once the season starts, it all changes, and those over/under win totals are got some interesting ones out there as well. But it's crazy. College football just came in with a vengeance this weekend, and all of a sudden we've got NFL starting in less than 48 hours. Jay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, not less than 48 hours. I'm not good at math. 48 hours starting at about 7 o'clock our time here in the Central Time Zone.
Nice.
Alan, we appreciate you as always. We got to jump off. We're going to get this contest going here to hopefully send some people to Talladega. But we appreciate you and appreciate your insight. If you don't have a chance to call tomorrow, I may get you to text me like your parlay of the for the NFL because
okay, not a problem.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate you very much. That was Alan Sandage, our local, not local, but he'll be here hopefully down at the end of the month. Our gambling expert.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, if you listen to the Coach James Hale show this morning, you would have heard that keyword at 8:45. And when we go into this break, or here just momentarily, actually, David's going to be announcing the name. And when you hear your name, you got to text the keyword in and your name to 850-215-6290. And then hopefully, if we get you as fast as you possibly can, is going to give you a chance to win that pair of tickets. We're going to do 3 qualifying times for this. So a lot of opportunity to head up there. Talladega's 4 hours away?
Yeah, 4 hours.
Not too bad at all. The Yellowwood 500, October 1st, not September 17th.
There you go.
But all good. David, are you ready for that name?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
All right, James Taylor, you are now on the clock. Give us a call, 850-215-6290 for your qualifying time.
He texted me that, but I forgot. I'm learning as we go here.
Yeah,
But give us a text. The fastest coming back in. When we get back, hopefully we'll find out who is going to go ahead and get involved in that first running for the pair of tickets to the Yellowwood 500. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the Race to Talladega. Win a pair of tickets to the 2023 Yellowwood 500. Listen mornings at 8:45 for the keyword of the day. When you hear it, text the keyword in your name to 850-215-6290. If we announce your name, race to the phones and call us back. How long it takes you to call back is your qualifying time. The top 3 qualifying times win a pair of tickets to Talladega from ESPN Northwest Florida.
Young Cycle across from FedEx Mosley Drive in Lynn Haven has a fantastic selection of pre-owned Harleys at great prices. Don't buy a Harley until you stop by Young Cycle. Young Cycle, a full-service department is available too, offering motor trike conversions, parts, and accessories. Nothing compares to Harley-Davidson and the low prices on pre-owned Harleys at Young Cycle. Young Cycle, 112 Mosley Drive across from FedEx in Lynn Haven.
Ready for your next Toyota? We're ready for you.
And during this month's national sales event, you can get 2.75% APR plus no payments for 90 days on a new Camry. 2.75% on the unstoppable Tacoma. Get 2.9% on the legendary Corolla. And get 2.9% on the impressive RAV4. Online, in person, or somewhere in between. Whatever works for you, always works for us.
Offer expires September 5th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com. ESPN Northwest Florida is an active member of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We want to introduce the newest members to the Beach Chamber. Brine Barbecue, Chamber Concierge, Grossbusters PCB Pressure and Soft Washing, Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center, PCB Location, Josie Strickland Insurance, and Strength Medical Group. Congratulations from the only local sports talk station, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Starting fresh.
Fresh new start.
Locally sourced, Farm to Radio. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is live and local. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. James Taylor, your name was announced. You texted in the keyword this morning. Give us a call here. The clock is still running, but you're the first one, so we get you in. You set the qualifying time barrier there. So, James, if you are listening,
I've seen fire and I've seen rain.
That's true. You have a Taylor guitar as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And we have yet to hear you play it on the air.
Come on, James Taylor. We need to hear from you.
Is this the week?
It could be. I don't know.
Stop dangling the carrot. Let us know.
Maybe some Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville.
R.I.P. There you go. That would have been perfect.
Nibbling on sponge cake.
Yep.
Watching the sun bake.
All the tourists.
They're covered in oil.
There you go. We just keep going around and around and around if you want to. But yes, rest in peace, Jimmy B. Big presence here in Panama City Beach with the Margaritaville restaurant, Margaritaville Resort up there with Latitudes. Also the new Margaritaville cottages right there on Panama City Beach as well. I'll send you the bill for the sponsorship later on that one. But you ready to do your thing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's make it happen.
It's Jay's Golf Tip of the Week.
I won't ask you what last week was because I don't remember it.
I don't either. I've slept 7 times since then. So, but no, all right. So my swing tip of the week, if you're searching for distance, which I know we all
Everybody
are.
is. Everybody wants to hit it further.
You want to create some lag in the swing. And lag is basically where you want to hold on to the club as long as you can as you turn through it. One thing you can do is...
You technically want to hold on to the club through your entire golf
Well,
swing.
yeah, you do. Okay. Yeah, this is
just clearing that one up first before people get confused.
But if you're a right-handed golfer, what you want to do is take your right hand out in front of you like you're going to shake somebody's hand, and then you're going to bend your wrist to the right. And when you bend your wrist to the right, do you see wrinkles? Ryan, do you see wrinkles?
Too many.
Too many, I do too.
In the sun way too long.
Same. But yeah, I'm looking at my wrinkles in the right wrist. Now, if you go ahead and make a swing and try to hold those wrinkles as long as you can all the way through impact, that's going to create lag. That's going to create more distance. And come see me on the lesson tee at Bay Point, www.golfwithj.com.
Hey, lag is important because lag generates clubhead speed. Really with anything. I mean, throwing a football, you want that lag too, and that snap and that whip, all that particular good stuff. So, yeah, lag.
Hey, keep the wrinkles all the way through impact. I promise you that'll
if you don't like wrinkles, put on some more sunscreen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or less, depending on if you believe in sunscreen or not.
I don't.
It's okay.
Do you?
I don't know. I'll let you know once I find out how this whole journey goes through life.
Yeah.
One of the Coach James Hale sponsors is going to tell you sunscreen is a necessity.
Really?
But we're not going to dive through that. Not here, not now. Well, you guys got a big match coming. I'm going to pivot away from this. You guys got a big match coming up today, right?
We do. Bay High School is playing against North Bay Haven, Mosley, and Bozeman out at Panama Country Club this afternoon. If you are around the area, want to see some really good high school golf, check us out at Panama Country Club.
There you go. There you go. The season. This is match number 2 for your Bay High Tornadoes?
Match number 2.
Because your last week was it last week?
Adelia.
Got rained out.
Got us.
Adelia.
Yeah. Slightly. I mean, you know, we could have played, but we wanted the safety.
Hey, safety first. Always wear shoes in the house.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what movie that's from?
Micro Machines, Home Alone?
No.
Do you remember Micro Machines?
Yeah. Yes. For sure.
Man.
Pineapple Express.
Oh.
It's a great movie.
I've never watched
What?
Yes.
David, you've seen it. Yeah, David's like, yes, I've seen it.
Is that animated?
No, my God, no. It's got Seth Rogen and...
you might be thinking of Sausage Party.
Yes, which is another raunchy movie. Yeah, there's a scene where they're at the one guy's house, and they walk in and they go, safety first, always wear shoes in the house. So anytime somebody says safety first, I'm going to come back with always wear shoes in the house. Did you watch the Walker Cup this weekend?
I did. I watched a little bit of that. That kind of helped through the weekend mornings before
to get
football.
through. Yep, absolutely.
Before football. Yeah,
absolutely.
But,
I didn't realize, I was doing some research, I didn't realize that they played foursomes and singles matches each day.
They did.
So it's a little bit different than the Ryder Cup format where you play foursomes, four-ball, foursomes, and then singles matches just in one day, which I think is good because then you're getting a lot of one-on-one stuff. But the USA did come out on top over Great Britain and Ireland, 14.5 to 11.5. Some of those top amateur college golfers were competing in this for both sides, which is always a cool one. A lot of people forget about the Ryder Cup. It's the top amateur, team match out there.
Well, and you had this 16-year-old Connor Graham who played for GBNI, and he gets paired up in his singles match versus Hagestad, I think, who was one of our oldest amateurs. And, man, I can't imagine, which I know Hagestad beat him, I think, 3-2 the last day. But,
yeah, he did in the last
16
day.
years old, Ryan.
Playing in a Walker Cup.
It's insane.
Typically, you're either in college or are transitioning from college to the pros.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are in your young golf career. But yeah, wild stuff, that's for sure. Gordon Sargent, he played well, hitting the ball all over the place. We got off to a bad start. We were down 3-1 after that Saturday foursomes, and even after the singles matches on Saturday, looks like we only won 3 matches and halved one on that one. So we're in a big hole. But then Sunday, everything kind of changed. We took 3 out of the 4 singles matches, team foursome matches. So they didn't play 4-ball, Jay. It was just foursomes and singles.
Yeah,
that's wild. So you're playing alternate shot in singles matches.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Yeah. Speaking of team match play, the European Ryder Cup roster has been formed. Just want to touch on it real quick. I know we've been talking about college football all day. Hadn't got into any of the NFL, which we will certainly jump into tomorrow, especially when we have Keith Fleming joining us at high noon to break down those daily fantasy picks and getting ready for any last-minute changes you need to make on your fantasy football team. Jay put Cooper Kupp on the trading block this morning, David.
Yeah.
That's not, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know
if you can get the right value for him, for sure.
Right. He's I had a fantasy draft, one more last night.
How many leagues are you in? 17?
No.
That's what it feels like.
Fantasy, probably like 7 or 8.
Whew.
Man, I've got the 3 rule. I can only do 3 things. I've got 2 fantasies, and then I'm going to do the pick 'em with you. And man, once I get past 3, it's overload for me. I can't I can't do it.
Well, you just got a cell phone last year, so you're figuring this all out as you go.
And then upgraded straight after you got that first one that was still flipping. Then you got that one.
The jitterbug.
Motorola, baby.
You can see the buttons okay, right?
Oh, yeah.
Good. As I'm wearing glasses, too, and Liam always calls me blind because I am. But anyway, the captain's picks were made. So now this is the final European Ryder Cup team. Obviously, you've got Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, Victor Hovland were the qualifiers, and then Robert McIntyre, Tyrrell Hatton, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Sepp Straka, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry, Nikolai Horegaard, if I pronounced that correctly, and then Ludwig Adberg. And a kind of a fun fact about Ludwig that he shared
a great
with
pianist.
He was Ludwig von Beethoven. Little Fur-Elise, Moonlight Sonata, all that good stuff. Anyway, Ludwig Adberg, he has not played in a major championship before, so he's the first player to ever play in a Ryder Cup without playing in a major championship. What do you think the here? You want me to go through the USA team one more time for you?
Yeah, if you could,
because I know you forgot. You got Sam Burns, Patrick Cantlay, Wyndham Clark, Ricky Fowler, Brian Harman, Max Homa, Jordan Spieth. Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, and that's the whole team right there. What do you think? It's played in Rome, Italy.
Yeah, the JT pick is still out there.
Still grinding your gears?
Yep, still grinding my gears.
I hear you.
I'm hoping that doesn't come down to Sunday and him be late in the pack, having to depend on him. But, yeah, I don't know. Europe obviously has a better team than we do. I'm not a big fan of Zach Johnson being our Ryder Cup captain. I'm just not.
It should have been Dustin Johnson. You're right.
Well, I mean, I would take Dustin over Zach,
even though he's un-American.
Yeah, I would.
Come on.
Yeah, I would. But no, what we got? Like 3 more weeks left. And,
I think it starts. Let's see, September 25th, running through October 1st. So that'll culminate at the end of this month, and really, that's the next big golf thing to look forward to. But I don't know. Looking on paper, it's going to be interesting. I think on paper, we have a little bit more powerful team, but like Keith always says, it's going to come down to putting and that match play stuff. This is the first European Ryder Cup team. I don't know how many Ryder Cups that Ian Poulter has not been involved in. Would you have taken Ian Poulter, even though he's on the LIV Tour and everybody says they're on the LIV Tour, not playing as much, but he's such a dominant match play player.
Yeah, he is.
You got no Poulter, you got no Reed.
Yeah, I mean, Poulter has, a little bit of swag.
Oh, yes. He's got a lot of swag.
Can kind of bring some things to the table besides golf. He could probably lighten up the room a bit for the, for the Europeans. But, I would definitely have him for sure.
Quite a few Georgia guys on the, is it 2 or is it more than that? You've got Sepp Straka, he played for Georgia.
Yep.
And then Brian Harman played for Georgia. Anybody else play for Georgia that comes off the top of your head?
Oh, let's see.
Sam Burns, I don't know, he played. Patrick Cantlay, Wyndham Clark, Ricky Fowler, he played for Oklahoma State. Brian Harman's Georgia. Max Homa. Brooks Koepka played for FSU.
Yep.
Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas. Yeah, 2, 1 on each team. Should have done some more research. Your captain, as you mentioned, was Zach Johnson, with your vice captains being Steve Stricker, Davis Love III, Jim Furyk, Fred Couples, and Stuart Sink. You think they're bringing Tiger over there?
I hope so. Come on, Tiger. We need a pep talk in a few weeks.
What's your favorite thing about watching the Ryder Cup?
The favorite thing, I don't know, just the camaraderie. We see these guys play stroke play every week, this is a team environment. You just hope that they all mesh well and play good golf, and that's what I like about it. What about you, Ryan?
The passion for the country, I think, is probably my favorite thing. And I love the fans at the Ryder Cup as well, because they're a lot. I mean, this is in Europe, so they're not typically as rowdy and as derogatory is not the right word, but aggressive towards the other team as the United States fans here on a home soil. But I just like the whole atmosphere of the Ryder Cup. I'm really looking forward to the next Ryder Cup in the States, because I believe, if I've got it correctly off the top of my head, that's going to be at Bethpage Black right there in Farmingdale, New York. And those New York sports fans, they are crazy.
Yes, they are.
Got to give a shout out to Chase Seifert, still holding strong on that 24th position on the Korn Ferry Tour points list. local guy, played at Mosley High School. He works over there with David Hansen at the Watersound Club. Top 30 earned their PGA Tour cards for the next season, so he's trying to get back onto the PGA Tour, which is such a difficult thing to get back onto when you fall. You just got to keep playing good golf. I don't really know how many events they have left. Let's see if I can figure that out. They've got one in Tennessee and the championship, and then it ends. That's it. Korn Ferry Tour Championship. They got 3 more events left. Hopefully he's done enough to secure that tour card. And talking with David last week, he came out and played some golf, and he said the last event doesn't have a cut, so it should be good on that stuff.
Well, I mean, this is so next year into 2024, we'll have the Tour Championship at Atlanta, right?
Yep, every year,
and then that's it for golf.
They play some events, but like the official this year, the official 2024 season does not start until the first year. Now they have events in the fall, but they got rid of the wraparound season. So the wraparound season is gone, where you could still earn FedEx Cup points from these few events in the fall. That's no longer. Now you start earning points the first of the year.
Okay, so these current tournaments happen in the next couple of months, or what are they playing? Or they're not playing for points, obviously.
Yeah, they're just playing for money.
They're just playing for money.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That's what they changed it. They went from the calendar year, then they went to the wraparound schedule to try to make those events more valuable. And now that since they've went to they call it signature events now, I can't remember. Since they went to that, they've kind of taken points out of the back end of the fall, I guess you could say. You got a lot of like the Target Hero World Challenge, which is Tiger Woods' event, and the McGladrey over there at Sea Island. So takeaways from your first college football weekend.
SEC is weaker, and I hate to use the word weaker. I wouldn't say SEC is weaker. I would say that other football programs are getting better.
Getting more better?
Yeah, more better.
Yeah,
better.
Mo better.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was fun watching Colorado. I'm curious as the season progresses to see how Deion and the Colorado Buffaloes continue on in the season. I love seeing Deion's enthusiasm. I'm going to be kind of watching Colorado a little bit. And obviously the Dogs.
I'm glad obviously. You watch them win every game. Yeah. I'm glad that happened, and it's kind of really jump-started our week 1 of college football. Yeah, the SEC West, every team won except for LSU, and then in the SEC East, everyone won except for Florida and South Carolina, which really isn't surprising because excuse me, everybody's talking about the SEC. I mean, that's really what was projected to happen. South Carolina wasn't supposed to beat North Carolina. Now, the FSU-LSU game is probably surprising, but it was a 2-point spread. It was supposed to be a close game. And then Florida losing to Utah, to some people may be surprising, but certainly wasn't that. But what's kind of crazy is the Pac-12 has yet to lose a game, and USC has played 2 games. Not that they were expecting to lose one. But any other takeaways?
They're going out on a high note.
That's
Pac-12
right.
is
the last Pac-12 championship in the history of the conference. And then Big Ten, kind of the same thing. They had 4 teams between the 2 divisions in the conference that lost. All the other teams won. So, yeah, I don't know, top to bottom.
Jordan Travis, Heisman candidate.
Yep.
I don't count him out.
Got to get those future bets in, that's for sure.
Yep.
Luckily, I got that one in there. And Florida State over 9.5. Some of those win totals are going to be a little tougher to get now, too. I think Clemson's win total was 10 to start the season. Maybe a little bit tougher to get to that one now with that opening season loss to Duke. But yeah. It's here, man. College football, NFL starts in 2 days. Make sure you tune into the afternoon Underdogs this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m., where our very own DJ Davey Crockett will be breaking down all the games for that group of people that listen to the afternoon Underdogs. If you listen to us as well, you're going to hear a little bit of David Hayes on both shows, which we very, very much appreciate. Good luck to your Bay High Tornadoes this afternoon in that match. It's a little bit not cooler, but it's not as hot today, so hopefully they enjoy it. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Northwest Florida presents the Race to Talladega. Win a pair of tickets to the 2023 Yellowwood 500. Listen mornings at 8:45 for the keyword of the day. When you hear it, text the keyword in your name to 850-215-6290. If we announce your name, race to the phones and call us back. How long it takes you to call back is your qualifying time. The top 3 qualifying times win a pair of tickets to Talladega from ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, mostly sunny and a temperature of 89 with an 8 to 12 miles per hour wind out of the south. Clear skies tonight, a calm wind and warm near 75. Sunny and 87 tomorrow. 87 and sunshine most of the day aside from a likelihood of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening Thursday. This is your Tuesday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Ready for your next Toyota? We're ready for you.
And during this month's national sales event, you can get 2.